Hey, everybody. Welcome to tonight's celebration. I'm Allison Peterson, the founder of the New to Coaching community. And tonight we are celebrating our wins, not just of the week, but wins of the year. So we are so excited that you've come to join us tonight. I have coaches in the backstage with me who are going to be coming on live for short interviews to share their wins of the year, really recapping the progress that they've made from the beginning of this year to the end with one or two just big wins. So if you are here out in the comments, say hi, drop us a comment, let us know that you're here. Make sure, this is kind of a nuance, but make sure that you have actually clicked on the live stream. You're not just commenting in the post where I had to put the live stream into the New to Coaching group. Facebook has recently changed its policies about live streams in Facebook groups, which is a little bit weird, but make sure that you click on it and that you actually end up on my page so that your comments show up. And if you want your name to show up in the comments, you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and that will show your name. So I'm going to go ahead and just check and see if you are out there. If you'll drop me a comment, I'll see if it's working in the StreamYard. So tonight we are doing the wins of the year celebration. I'm so excited to have coaches here to share their wins. And they are going to be the ones to really come on and say, hey, like this is the progress that I've made this year, and this is the win. So here is why we are doing this, friends. Here's why we are doing wins of the year, because every week in the New to Coaching group, we do wins of the week every Friday. And that is an opportunity for you to stop and pause along your busy week and say, okay, even though I think nothing good might have happened this week, or even though I wasn't paying attention to everything that was happening this week, I had one big win. I had one big win from the week. And that is what we're going for each week on Fridays. So what we want to do now is that it's the end of the year is celebrate the wins of the year and culminate our school year with celebration. So I am excited to announce something very exciting. Drum roll, please. One of my wins of the year this year is that let me see if I can get it back on screen here. I am finally releasing Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, my new book specifically for new coaches for how they can get started with coaching. So right now it is available on Amazon Kindle, and it will be available in print very soon. But for right now, you can get started for only 99 cents. You can read the whole book, and you can head over to Amazon like right now and get yourself a copy. But the reason I want to tell you about this book in the process of celebrating wins is because there is a chapter in the book about the importance of celebrating wins when you are doing coaching cycles, or just when you are coaching. Knowing that you have to stop and celebrate wins is a huge part of your ability to kind of see your progress along the way. So here in the New to Coaching group, we have a hashtag that we use called hashtag if change is a goal, progress is the win. And so that's why we're going to stop and celebrate today, because we want to see the small wins of progress happening so that we can, small steps of progress happening so that we can ultimately see change happening in our schools. If you are a new coach this year and you've been discouraged, I invited a lot of coaches to come on here with me, and I talked to a few of them, and they said, I don't even have any wins to share. If you feel like you don't even have any wins to share, then I think you need to rethink that a little bit, because there is something to celebrate. You have set some kind of foundation, and you are building on top of it, even if it was your first year and you felt like it wasn't going as well as you'd hoped. So the idea of if change is the goal, progress is the win is something I elaborate on in my book. And I think that it will really help you change your perspective on how you can see that coaching actually is making an impact, and you get to make that bigger impact that you're dreaming of. So I really wanted to make sure we took time today to stop and celebrate. So make sure you grab Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles. It's available at Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles coachingcycles.com. And you can click on that. I'll take you straight to Amazon. So it's super easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I'll get that in the comments for you so that you can grab it 99 cents on Kindle right away. It's going to be limited time for 99 cents. So go grab it like this week before that price pops up. And I would be so honored to have you reading this book that has been written for and cultivated from this group. So I'm so excited to be announcing that it's finally available for you to purchase on Amazon. Okay, so tonight we are going to be interviewing some ladies, some instructional coaches who have been working so hard this year to just till the soil and try to get some movement going towards change. And so as I bring each of them on, they will introduce themselves. And they will just take a minute to share one of their biggest wins from the year or some of the progress that they've seen from the year. Everybody kind of has a different story and a different stage of coaching. So it's so valuable. If you're a brand new coach and you haven't even started yet, these stories are going to be encouraging and inspiring for you. They're also going to help you remember, like, I've got to keep going because it's hard. If you are a end of the first year coach and you feel like you just had this terrible first year as a coach, then I really want you to listen to these stories so carefully, because these stories are going to be some that will help you know that there is hope on the other side of this work and that you do not have to give up yet, friends. You do not have to give up. So I really hope these stories encourage you tonight and that we are just celebrating the wins from each of these ladies who are going to be joining us tonight. So if you are out there in the watching this live stream, drop a comment for me so that we can see if it's showing up in the live stream, StreamYard. Hi, Jenny. I'm so glad you're out there tonight. And then Autumn is about to pop on live with me. So she is out there. I would love to see your comments rolling in, but they kind of have to be happening at the right place. So if you're having trouble getting your comment to show, click on the live stream and go over to my Facebook page. That's where you have to actually find it now. So it's kind of tricky, and the comments do not look like they're rolling in. So I hate that I can't see them, but that's all right. Okay, so Autumn, I'm going to bring you on and let you introduce yourself and share your win. And I have like 10 ladies tonight who are going to be jumping on. Oh, hey, Summer, how are you? Can't wait to get the book. Great. Well, immediate download on Kindle. Go for it, girl. Kickstartyourcoachingcycles.com. Okay, so Autumn, let's put you here. Hey, girl.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Enjoying summer break already. And I loved your question because it just really made me pause and go, which one do I want to share?
Yeah.
So, as many of you know, my year one was super challenging, almost quit at Christmas time. And I'm really glad I stuck it out. But this year, I'm still at two different schools. One is very much a growth mindset, very cohesive. My other school they're cohesive, but they don't have a growth mindset. And so I kind of plugged into the new teacher this year. And she had taught in Korea before, but this was like her first year in a classroom in America, and also getting her alternative license. And she was so fun to work with because she was willing to take, suggestions, feedback. We even went and looked at the other school, and she got some great classroom management tips, and then she implements them. And I'm like, yay, like that is a huge win. And then seeing her growth in engagement throughout the whole year was really super fun to see her growth at 300% from the beginning of the school year to the end. And then another data piece that we took was off of our self-assessment rubric, and she scored herself so low at the beginning of the year. I was like, oh, I see you so different, but that's okay. You have to see yourself soon the way I see you. And then we did a check-in in December, and it was higher. And then by the end of the year, like she was giving herself scores like I was seeing in her in October. So that was super fun to see. And then overall at my challenging school, we had a 220% increase in engagement.
What?
Which means, yeah, so that means kids are learning, right? And that's why we're there, right? Is to help all these teachers so we could impact these kiddos. So that was just really rewarding to reflect back on.
Oh, that is so awesome. How did you measure that engagement? Because you know somebody's going to have that question.
Well, I created a spreadsheet, which I absolutely love. Observation, and I write down all the different engagement strategies that are, and according to Kagan, they should have an engagement strategy every 10 to 15 minutes. So while I'm in there, I should see at least two. And sometimes I'd hang out longer and just start noting that more. And so then I just kind of kept track of an average per month and then would do it after every quarter. And then at the end of the semester, from the beginning to the end, and then from August to May. And I'm happy to share my spreadsheet with anybody if they want it. So
Yes,
it's just
they're
really
gonna want that. You know they're going to want that. Okay, yeah. So tag Autumn Duncan if you want her to connect with you about that spreadsheet. But that is just, I think it overall, that's something that feels hard to track. It feels intangible. So for you to have really been able to track it and then like see that huge, huge growth through using the Kagan strategies, which I know a lot of people use. So you had one teacher who didn't see herself as well as she could have, who finally towards the end of it had that. And then you had this amazing increase in engagement. And you're at finishing year 2? Okay, finishing year 2. So give us one little tidbit about what it feels like at the end of year 2 for somebody who's still like trying to hang on at the end of year 1.
Don't give up. Year 2 is easier because one, we have Allison and each other, but it's great because you start seeing a lot of the seeds that you've planted to start to bloom, and people start asking you questions that even if you don't work with, like at the copy machine, right? They're asking you those questions like Allison says they're going to, they really do. Oh. And then the principals, like for my 2, both my principals are so laid back. They're like, whatever you want to do. And I'd be like, how about this? And they're like, yeah, that's great. Well, this year for year 3, they're much more specific because now we're able to, once I show them the data and how I'm tracking it, they're like, well, let's do that with intervention. And let's do this with having our, intervention be more, succinct and what we're going to be doing to meet our learners and make sure we have at least 60 to 65% growth. And I don't know, I finally feel like I have the knowledge, experience, and I don't know, as a 2 in the Enneagram, like being the helper, like I'm getting over, I'm not going to make everyone happy. So I've made myself a little piece of paper. It says, I can't make everyone happy. I'm not tacos. Make everyone happy, right? So that's just my reminder as a 2 that I can't make everyone happy. And that's kind of been, so don't give up, and you can't be a people pleaser.
Yes, that's a huge win. And I think we should hashtag I'm not tacos. Okay, Michelle Ruiz says that she's loving this. And Sandy says that this is just so fantastic to see this win. So celebrating with you.
Yay, thank you.
So thank you, Autumn. I'm going to bring on, I think, Michelle Ruiz. So bye, girl. Okay, so Michelle Ruiz, I think you are next on my list. Come up, friend. Hello, girl. How are you? Okay, wait, let's unmute you.
Sorry.
No, hi. Okay. Hi, welcome to the stage because we have big things to celebrate. So give us a quick introduction so people know your story a little bit, and then share your wins with us.
So I had to think hard about what to say tonight because I was one of those, this is my 4th year in the role, just finishing the 4th year. And I was like, well, I don't know if I've had a win this year, a big win this year. But so as I'm reflecting on it, it's a 4-year win. It happened this year because it was a 4-year buildup. So the big win is that I knew that we were getting a new big box curriculum coming up. I have been ready for this and preparing my teachers for this, but I didn't ever want them to rely on turning page by page by page because it's just a complete departure from what we know already how to do, and it would just be demoralizing for them. And I didn't want that. And I didn't want it for my kids either. So this year I presented this great big experiment to several grade levels. I'm like, you know what? Will you just try this with me? Let's just try. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try. It's a complete revamp of how we do literacy at my school. And not only were the teams that I approached about it first completely willing, but I've now scaled that to almost the entire building. They've all said, except for kindergarten wants to do it, but I don't want kindergarten to do it. It's too much for kindergarten. But everybody's on board. And as I thought about like, how did I get there? Because I was year 1, I was ready to also quit by October. Like, well, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And then it was that January that I found you, Allison, and you saved me. and I stuck with it and just kept cultivating those relationships. And so now I'm in this position where every single person jumped off the diving board with me.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And I know that some of those teams were not friendly at first. So it's become like a true transformation of some of the ways that they're like receiving you. Not only
Yeah.
are they just like, listening, but they're saying, "Yes, we'll do something with you and we'll follow you
Yeah.
through fire a little bit, you know?"
Yeah. It's humbling, it's exciting, but it's humbling and it's scary. But it's also so amazing that you don't see this. You can't the first year or two, you don't envision this. I didn't even know where it was going to go. I had plans, but I had no idea this is where I would go. I just followed my teachers and we just kept going, right? But it's so cool to see that here's where we are.
Yes, absolutely. And I was thinking about you because your story is in Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, my new book, and some of the early parts. So you trying to use the Kickstart PD. And so when you think about that initial, like,
Yeah.
I kind of tried to figure out how to get over the hump, and you learned the model inside of the Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, which is, all of those different steps. And then you tried them, used them, had success with that, started to really create momentum. And then, but honestly, you also got to a point where you could help me write the book. So Michelle has been a partner in editing the book and writing the book with me. And that it has been like she was able to contribute because of so much that she had been able to do with it. And so you think you haven't had these wins, but 4 years down the road, looking back, like you have gone through so much and you've helped transform your school. And now you're going through a new phase of change and adoption. And rather than facing all the resistance, you've got some willingness. Like, oh my goodness, so exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, just follow. I'm so grateful for finding you and your philosophy and for following it, because that's what did it. It was literally the kickstart that changed everything. And here I am.
Yes, yes. And so those of you who have not explored the Kickstart yet or even know what we're talking about, it's all in my new book, Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, which is available at kickstartyourcoachingcycles.com.
And it's all punctuated correctly.
That's right, because Michelle has been helping me to get it edited. So I am so grateful for you and for your story and how just watching the arc of change that happens when you are continuing to invest in this role and not giving up just yet and seeing the fruit that can come on the other side of it. So I love your story, Michelle. Thank you for sharing it. We got Sandy saying that this is a huge win. Congrats. And so that's so great. Thanks, Sandy, for jumping in there. Okay, so I'm going to see who's next on the list. It's Caprice Pickering. So I'm going to bring you down and I will bring her up. There we go. All right, y'all. So I'm going to introduce you to Caprice. She'll take a second to introduce herself. And Caprice has also been helping me work on Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles. So this has been a team effort for sure, getting this book out. And we're so excited that finally it's in your Kindle hands. It'll be in your physical hands soon too. So, but go ahead and introduce yourself, Caprice.
So I am not officially a coach. So some of us that are in this community have jobs that are a little bit more like curriculum. So I do curriculum coordination for 3 divisions, K through 12, in this job. And I came into the job and a lot of things were set for me. So that was 2 years ago. That I was going to work on this backwards design project. So it was already laid out and I was coming in to kind of head up this project. But because I'm so committed to instructional coaching through relationship, I've really, and Allison and I have done this in other schools and I'm a believer, I have really been trying to work towards relationship and getting people into the small group or even one-on-one environment. So my first year, I was not really able to get people one-on-one. The best I could do when I got there, they were doing like large 150 teacher PD with consultants that came twice a year. And then they said, okay, teachers, go back and design your units, which we all know is really hard. So I spent that first year trying to get into smaller groups or one-on-ones and didn't really happen. But this year, that's my big win. So this year I kept at it, kept building relationship, kept working these strategies, even though it's not perfect with my job and the parameters of my job. But this year I was able to do 8 teachers one-on-one planning days, which was huge. And then I also had, I think, 4 or 5 teachers that we did weekly meetings. So it's not a full coaching cycle, but I'm still getting the benefit of that one-on-one coaching cycle relationship that comes up, and letting the teachers have some control over how we're doing this project. So that's my huge win.
Yes, I love that so much. And so many coaches out there are doing maybe a little bit more of what you're doing, like a curriculum coordinator role or maybe a district specialist type of role. And it's harder to get into and break into the one-on-ones. Then there's also some teachers who are teaching and coaching and still having trouble breaking into the one-on-ones. And so when you do have the opportunity to finally break through that and get just one or two teachers going in a one-on-one conversation and seeing that progress, I feel like you really are able to go like, oh, I'm making a different kind of impact. I can really see it in the classroom. So
well, and I was able to use like the Kickstart PD exit ticket strategy was great. I took it down to smaller, like 10-person trainings that I did instead of the 150. Those exit tickets were the best. That strategy worked so well. And I was brand new to the campus. I didn't know anyone at this campus. And that was huge for me. Also, just the idea that when I could get with one person, they kind of spread the news for me, and then I didn't have to do it by myself, which you can read about in the book. That really worked, to have a couple of teachers out there just kind of saying, hey, this person can really help. You should ask her to help. And that was huge as well.
yeah, no, those are huge wins because you're building that momentum when people are realizing, well, you are helpful. I can go see her. It's not scary. So all of those strategies are in Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles because Caprice has helped me to edit the book, and we are so excited to finally get it in your hands. So I popped that up there. Okay, so on my list next, I have Hope Chapman. So I'm going to bring Hope on and let her tell her story. Thank you, Caprice, for being here. I'll see you later. Hey, girl.
Hi, Allison. It's good to see
How
you.
are you? Good. Okay, so you've got some wins to share. You want to share a little bit of your role that you're moving to? Roles.
Yeah, I definitely have some great wins. I finished my 5th year in coaching, and I as well, like Michelle Rui, found Allison. Gosh, it's been, can you believe it's like 4.5, 5 years ago. This is crazy. It doesn't feel that way.
Yeah,
But
right when we started the group.
I joined the community very early on, and that first year, for sure, this community is just an amazing encouragement. And then year 2 and year 3, great celebrations. I feel like I've grown a lot as a coach, and I will say that year 4 and year 5 has brought its challenges, as with many coaches that can relate. When your state comes out with new resources and new professional development that you must go ahead and take part of and
Right.
implement, it can be challenging taking an entire school through that. So the last 2 years have been one of transition for my school, really my district as well. As we have completed letters. So that is a
Oh my goodness. A win. Oh, she froze on me.
That is a way through letters, and at the same time we were in a new curriculum, swimming our way through. So that was a huge win. And a lot of times when you are involved in such great change, such as taking on a professional development like letters, and taking on a new curriculum that's supposed to align and be kind of go along with that professional development, and you're moving from a totally different background as far as the focus on literacy, it brought its challenges. So saying that we finished letters and getting through that year 2 is a big win.
Yeah.
It did not come out without frustrations. And Allison, when you and I talked, I thought, well, let me see if I do have some wins. throughout this, I've learned a lot, and I'm actually transitioning next year to a new role, a new school. I guess I did not mention that my coaching role now is grades 3 through 5, and I am doing all subjects. But next year, I'm moving into a literacy coach role at a school where I'll be working with K through 5. And I really feel like just moving through the last couple of years, coaching through change has really prepared me for a new position and
Yeah.
what I'm calling a new adventure.
Yes. And so that's a win too, like becoming a new coach all over again, but having the experience of 5 years of coaching and bring with you into a new role. That's going to feel really different from just starting from classroom to coaching, but bringing that with you. What helped you know that like coaching was your path? Like you didn't go admin or some other direction. What helped you know that you wanted to go to the next phase for you in coaching, looking for another position, to another way to contribute?
Well, I believe that through the last several years, I've had a lot of opportunities to move into more administrative type roles. And each time I've had to be clear about what I felt like my role was supposed to be. And that's been a lot of coaching here in Breakthrough Circle as well, and then our new coaching group, just to figure out what my role was and what didn't feel like it was. But I'm definitely called to coaching and being with working with teachers one on one and finding a place where we're improving, and but just really meeting coaches where or meeting teachers where they are, as opposed to I'm coming in and I need to see this, and if I don't, we're going to have a conversation. That did not feel right to me.
Yeah.
So learning to balance that was, I guess I could say that that's a huge win and something that I'll be able to take with me to a new role. But I would also say for coaches, I think we take it for granted, even the little things that we do that reap huge dividends and make a big difference. Because a lot of times when you are preparing to go into a new role, everyone, as you are preparing to leave, they begin to reflect on your relationship. So coming back and just having some great conversations and reflecting with teachers, and not only that, but just even my other coaching colleagues, it's just been very encouraging to
Yeah.
know I've had that opportunity to make an impact.
Yes. And like that's such a confirmation for you to know like coaching is your spot. Getting a little bit of like goodbye feedback is also really helpful to know like I did make a big impact here. I couldn't maybe see all of these wins when they were happening, but they're there. So good. Well, I'm so excited about your new journey, Hope, and that you are kind of becoming a new coach again. But I love that we might be able to hear a lot more of your story this fall as you transition so that you can share with new coaches like what are the things you're doing as you're setting up your coaching program. So I can't wait to share more of your story this fall. So thank you so much, Hope, for being here. I'm actually gonna go to Sandy next if you're ready, girl. Okay. All right. Sandy Oman, how are you, girl?
I'm doing great, Allison. It's great to see you. I'm so excited about your book.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get it in everybody's hands. I want the physical copy as much as everyone else does, but digital for now on your phone. And it's short and sweet, friends. You can read it in a couple of days. Like it's not going to take you forever. But yes, so introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about your role because you have a unique role.
I do. So I'm Sandy Oman. I am a secondary regional literacy trainer, and I work with 5 different counties, which means I'm not assigned to one school building. And so Allison and I have had multiple conversations about how building those relationships is really challenging, but she's given me lots of great pointers. So thanks for that, Allison.
Sure.
Yeah, so this year was interesting. You and I had you'd helped me set some goals for myself and working with some PLCs and some individual teachers.
And coaching
And
cycles. Coaching cycles
coaching
was a big goal.
cycles. Oh my goodness. So I got into classrooms, and one of the things that you have really brought up is, as a coach, we can set our goals and we can have those set up. But what we really need to do is we need to meet teachers where they are, because that's going to be where they're receptive and where they're open to us. Enter beginning of this school year. And one of the school districts, one of the districts in the counties that I work with, decided to adopt not one, but two. I think Michelle Rui called it big box curriculum.
Oh, big box. Yes.
So two, not one, but two for middle school social studies teacher. And so the middle school social studies teachers were given these materials during the beginning of school and into the first few weeks. So
Oh my goodness. They were supposed to use them? They were supposed to use them like this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So December is waiting to strike.
It is like setting the stage for me to work with teachers, and they were really just keeping, doing the doggy paddle and keep your head above water. And that also meant that they were more open to coaching.
Yeah. They needed help. They were desperate.
They were. And they also just realized that they're in it, they're diving in, they're digging deep. And as they're doing that, having an outside voice that's not right in the weeds, that can kind of see, was super helpful to them. And so they were willing to have me come in for PLCs. Nice. And then that opened up, and my super exciting, I am currently working with an entire middle school social studies department.
Woo!
Their principal brought them in for an extra work time because our school year is already finished. So we're extra time, and we are backwards planning the entire next school year, where we're lovingly calling it Design and Frankenstein.
That is so fun.
Yes. And I haven't even told you this part yet, Allison.
Tell me everything.
Because today was like fresh, brand new. Today, during our session, yes, I helped with the backwards planning. I also referenced our Enneagram work.
Woo-hoo.
I referenced our Working Genius group.
Okay.
And I referenced our Generations work.
Yes.
So it was the trifecta of everything.
That's awesome.
Actually, I think that's 4, so it's more than the trifecta. But you get the idea. So so it went from doors closed to doors wide open. And now I'm doing it a little bit different. So now these are the same teachers that next year, starting those coaching cycles, and how's it working? And it will all be based on the work we've done together, so that we can look at, okay, where do we need to tweak this? How did that work for you? What changes can we make so that it really works with your students? What did we not anticipate?
Yes. And it doesn't matter. The first year is always terrible. I mean, but that's the really terrible start, not even having it in your hand on the first day of school. But it's just so hard because they are dog paddling. But if they do this work this summer and they have a better big picture understanding, then this coaching cycle work will be so helpful for them to be like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Like the confidence level is just going to totally increase.
Absolutely. And that's what they've already been able to do, some self-reflection, and just say, oh my goodness, like, yes, we're learning so much about this, but we've already learned so much so that we can navigate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of my wins, actually, that I didn't share at the beginning with my teachers, was that the first year we did a reading curriculum, by December, they were asking for a meeting and, being very clear that it was something that they needed to talk through. They didn't feel good about it. They needed more support. And so by the end of this second year, though, we sat down and had a reflection conversation, and we put some new pieces in place in response to the things that they brought up, totally valid. But they said, I feel so much more confident. I feel so much better about this curriculum. This year just went so much better. And I was just so glad to hear that from them because they really worked so hard to get it, to get it under their belt. But that first year just feels impossible for everyone. So if you are doing a first year curriculum rollout, anyone out there, just know year one is tough. But year two, it gets better, and teachers are just going to get their heads like slightly above water, and then it gets better. So Sandy's a testament. It's her win. It's one of my wins. So thank you for coming on and sharing your story, friend.
And keep in mind that growth mindset.
Yes, absolutely. We have to always lean into like we can still grow, and it's okay if you don't know what you're doing. We'll do it together, right?
Absolutely.
Through change, we say.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I have Jessica Crawford on next if she's ready. All right. Bye, Sandy. Okay. Hey, Jess. What's up? How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so give us a quick job description of the many things that you do so we know how many hats you wear.
I am the district literacy coach for my district, focusing mainly on K-5 because I'm also considered an educator on loan with our local ISD through the literacy grants we have in Michigan. And so I kind of work at that like bigger picture level. And then I do have literacy coaches in my elementary buildings. We have 3 grade banded buildings and I work with them. And we've also expanded coaching into the secondary schools as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot. Are you still doing a little bit of coaching coaches as well?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell us your wins because I know you've had like all sorts of things going on. So tell us your recap.
So I think my wins just kind of goes, I'm glad you said like I'm a coach of coaches. That's This is year 5. And so if you do the math, year 1 was when COVID started. And I also, as you know, Allison, had a baby that year. So I had a baby, came back and the world shut down.
Yes.
So that was kind of crazy. And then
I had that same experience. We had babies
I know our babies are very close in age. And that's how we found each other, right? You're like, who wants to do a book study while we're at home? I'm like, me. So finally this year, like, I really think I have my footing and an understanding of like a district coach and how to support the work that's going. So like my wins are just like seeing how much my coaches have grown.
Yeah.
As we've worked through this. So last year we started a monthly meeting for the coaches team. And we've also expanded where we have behavior coaches in all of our buildings too. So there's 18 of us in our tiny little district with math coaches. Yeah. Yeah. And so we actually did better conversations this year, Allison.
Yes,
So just the conversations that they're having, the reflection that they have, the connections that they make and the stories they're sharing with their coachees. Like one coach shared that, we had a teacher hired a little bit close to mid-year, the year had started and he had experience and she's like, I'm going to coach you. And he was like, I don't need a coach. Like where I come from, if you get a coach, that means there's something wrong with you. And she just handled it so gracefully. Like, well, that's not what coaching is here. Like everybody gets a coach. And like, then they had this great relationship and made all this growth for his students. And another coach wanted to work with me and we did more of a formal cycle. She's like, okay, data scares me. Help me understand data and how do I set goals? And she pushed herself too. She's like, we do a lot on foundational skills and that's easy data to track. She's like, let's do comprehension. So we did a true student-centered, like, what is our standard we're looking at? What are the learning targets? What's our goal for students? And really focused on a comprehension piece. So, and then in another building, so many more teachers were coached than they were last year because we finally have some consistency in that building, building up the coaches' capacity, and 16% more teachers made their growth goals than they had seen the year before.
Wow.
Increase in coaching, increase in growth. So it's all these little things that have been adding up. And I think Michelle had mentioned it. It's been 5 years in the making, more like 4, because that first year was kind of a wash, but to finally see it coming together. And there's still a lot to do, still a million ideas, but to see how we've truly embraced a coaching culture in our district and seeing them just all grow in coaching. And, in our kindergarten building, we're getting the best scores we've ever seen because that coach is also so strong and focusing on the instructional strategies and like,
Yeah, like
It's a
take it.
huge picture. Like I said, it's all these little things and it's like what other people do.
Yeah.
But I'm learning to toot my own horn. Like I know that it's a lot of stuff that we put in place and the supports we have in place. It's really hard for me
Well,
to feel like I'm awesome, but we got some awesome things going.
yeah, well, and they're awesome because they have the
Yeah.
support, you know. So but it's really just progress is the win, which we, you know, started here in the group. We were from the
Yep.
very beginning, that little phrase popped up and it has become our mantra because it feels like, you know, just these coaches going out and just being more present is adding up to such huge wins. So
Mhm.
just knowing how to create, you know, not really
Yeah.
knowing how to create the culture, but just
Mhm.
sending them out, equipping them better,
Yeah.
teaching them how, coaching them through coaching, you know, like
Mhm.
that's the support that new coaches need that so many don't get. But
Mhm.
and you didn't really get, you've waded
Nope.
your way through it yourself. So I love to hear that because it's hard to think in that first or second year that it's ever gonna
Mhm.
grow and change and something is
Yeah.
going to happen. And then so I love your journey and that you've really seen some wins through coaching other coaches. Um,
Mhm.
so good. Any other big wins or is that it?
I think those are like I said, it's really just about the work I'm seeing them do and just
Yeah.
like we're having true cycles, we're having great conversations, we're seeing sustained change. And it takes time. So when you feel like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What is going on? Like change really does take time. So you take every small win, that you can get along the way.
Yes, yes. We just have to say that mantra over and over to our new
Mhm.
coaches. And I feel like we said it, but we didn't really believe it, but we just kept saying it. Like it's going to take time, it's going to happen. And now here you are at the end of year 4 going, like look at it. There it
Mhm.
is. It's
Mhm.
happening. And so it's taking the time to stop and celebrate and see it is so, so huge. So good. Well, celebrate with your coaches. Make sure you
Yes.
send them big wins and let them
Mhm.
know that they're amazing. And thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your win.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to, let's see, I have Jenny Cameron and Dr. Sarah. So let me do Jenny and then Dr. Sarah, I'll bring you on last. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Oh, wait, you're on mute.
How's
There
that?
we go.
Better?
Yes, that's better. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Congratulations, Allison. I am so excited to read your book. It is
You
so
know
cool.
how long it's taken me to do it, and you know how hard I've worked. So you get to read it and go, this took her 2 years to do. What is wrong?
It's really inspirational. Congratulations. I cannot wait to read it.
Yes.
And brag that I know you.
Yes.
I
Oh,
know
as
the
soon
author.
as I can get those physical copies, I'll get the signed ones out to people who are like, yeah, they experienced the whole thing.
Hey, well, thanks for inviting me on here. I've been so inspired listening to everybody tonight and all the incredible wins everybody is having. So thank you for having me on. I don't have the best slate here, sorry.
That's okay, don't worry.
But yeah, I guess I was just listening to everybody talk through their journey, and it seems like a lot of people have maybe a 5-year journey. For me, I was coaching for about 3 years, and I think you and this group and the resources you provided, like when I started coaching, it was with it was an initiative where they didn't really know what coaches were, and I came in a cool time where I was able to help define it, but I needed to figure out what it was too. And I think through this group, I learned a lot about at the end of my year 1 and year 2, a lot about what coaching cycles truly were. And I felt like we had a lot of great things in place. But then, as you know, Allison, I had that, we were really passionate about talking about generational things. And you and I had a lot of great conversations. And then this group also had some fantastic conversations. And I felt like I was riding high as a coach. I had a lot of things that were falling into place. I was starting to have a lot of success in my building, in the K-2 building I was working in. And then my superintendent somewhat suddenly left, and we got a new superintendent who had a new direction and plan and did not believe in coaching and was very open about it. So it was a bit of a crushing moment for me earlier this year. So I kind of feel like, as I'm listening to everybody and all their great stories, I think my story is ending up well, but I started the school year off knowing my job was not going to exist. And that
You're
it was
not the only coach out there who's experiencing this at all. Like many coaches have heard that their jobs are totally dissolving. that they have to go back to the classroom, whether they want to or not. I'm thankful you had some other opportunities you can tell us about. But if anybody else out there is feeling that discouragement, like that, absolutely, there are others out there who have really had to face that this year. And every year, it's like coaching has this wave in some districts, and then it becomes like, all right, we're not going to invest in this anymore, and all of these jobs disappear, or a grant goes through or something.
Mhm.
So you're not the only one in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt like there was 5 of us in my program, and every year that we were there, it was like, who's not coming back in the teaching world, and which one of us could be pulled in that position, or who's going to be away on maternity leave, and it was always kind of a game of, are we going to be able to stay in this position long term? And we were doing fantastic things while we were there. So it was disheartening this year to find out my position was going to be phased out with no regard to the work I had been doing, and actually no plan to support all of the teachers I was supporting when my position was going away. And it was just, it was really disheartening. And I had an opportunity, and I know you and I have talked about, Allison, where I never thought I was going to go into an admin role. That was not my path that I thought I was on. And I had an opportunity of someone I had used to work with who reached out to me, and it was one of these jobs where I said no like a couple times. Like, I'm not even going to interview. We had a snowstorm. I was like, there it is. I'm not going to interview. The snowstorm's keeping me from the interview. And they kind of kept after me. And now I realize it was just like such a blessing that I wasn't seeing it for what it was. And now I'm working as the assistant principal with an instructional mindset. They really wanted somebody to come in and support the teachers in the classroom. And in a 5 to 6 building, that really needed support. And I knew I was doing good work with my team before, but I am now in a position where people who really need me, and I'm inspired every day when I go in. So that's been a change I wasn't seeing, but I also didn't realize I could still be a coach in this role when I was in the role. And absolutely, I almost don't see how you could come into a role like a vice principal role and not have the experience that all the ladies in this group have. It's just changed my entire perspective and how I approach things. And it's been really awesome. So
that's amazing. It's such a great win. There are several other ladies who have messaged me and said that they've had a job change, and some of them going into admin. And so like, it is sometimes like the next step, but I love what you're saying, because you get to take with you everything that you learned as a coach into that role. And I don't believe coaching is a job. I believe it's a way of being. It's like who you are going to be when you are interacting with other people. You are going to listen more, ask more questions, have more empathy, and care deeply about the people in front of you, and figure out ways to support them. That doesn't change when you when you switch over to maybe an AP role or a different role. And so I love that, like, the win is getting to a place where you feel, valued, but also being able to take with you all of these coaching like skills, but also more than that, mindset, approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's been great to have that opportunity, but also great to have all the support that you provide with this group. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get on there and share my win, and I'm so happy that I can say it's a win,
Yes, it is a win. And for others out there who are looking for the next step or trying to find a way out of a situation like Jenny was experiencing, many coaches have had to do that. And I think sometimes they think they can't keep coaching even in a different role, but you always can, because it's about how you interact with others. So such a great win, Jenny. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I'm going to bring on Dr. Sarah, who's also making a big move, but for a little bit of a different reason. So, hey, Dr. Sarah, how are you, friend?
Hey, I'm so glad I was able to make it tonight. It's a little bit hit or miss for a while there. So my move.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Finishing year 3 as a coach at a middle school. And I was asked to transition up to our larger high school in the district next year. The high school is still learning what coaching can be. They've had some coaches, but there's been, one of the coaches this year had to go back into the classroom to fill a high level need. And so it's just been lots of this. So there's a little bit of starting over fear.
New coach again.
New coach again. Lots of turnover at the school, which is kind of an exciting thing. We're also discovering some things in our district that opened some doors for us in the coaching program that we were not aware of, and even our supervisors, they were like, "Ooh, that's interesting." So we're able to start building those things in. So yeah.
Okay.
On up to high school.
Yes, but as you're leaving your other school, you have spent 3 years. What's the word for what you've done with PLCs? Getting them right?
No. Growing them.
Growing
I don't
your
think you
PLCs.
ever have it right. I think you just grow them to be what works.
And empowering teachers, what you've really been doing, a better term, not getting it right, like you said.
That.
Empowering teachers in PLCs. That's what you've been doing for 3 years.
That has been
a little bit about those wins.
That has been a lot of the work. Not all of the work, obviously, because I don't believe that PLC is the bulk of the work. And in our district, we're facilitators, and so learning how to balance that, grow the coaching, and help to facilitate that PLC and grow teachers as leaders, and remember that they're also learners. And if we stop learning, then we're done growing for kids. And that causes a lot of problems. So 3 years ago when I started, PLC had started the year before, but in our district, that was that hybrid year after COVID. So PLC was like, what is this? Nobody really knows. We have to do what? And so then it was a lot of, okay, here you go. You know how to do this. And going, well, I don't know what you mean. So lots of trial and error, lots of work. Thankfully, lots of people on the campus I am currently leaving who were willing to have those hard conversations with me from both sides of the table. And I am leaving what I believe is a really healthy campus in that PLC world, where, my kind of mantra this year is I should be able to work myself out of a job. If I am not there, they should be able to continue their learning. And there were some times I wasn't there this year for whatever reason, and they were able to continue their learning. Department heads were able to take on that learning, and even some of the just department members were able to take that on. And so that was huge, being able to differentiate at that middle school, what grade level, because all grade levels are different at secondary. They all need something different. It can't just be a sit and get. So
yeah, no, I love that. So I love that you've invested in something for 3 years, seen a little bit of a return, really help teachers become empowered and not as dependent, but also need to know, like, how do I do this PLC thing? Like, that's what I meant about getting it right. Like, just figuring out what is it and how do we do it?
Yeah.
And then I also love that you get to go start a little fresh, but bring with you all that you've learned and try and bring that to a new school, a new environment. I mean, moving to a different division or, building, but also high school. Those are some different nuances that you have to face. But you'll get to bring everything that you've learned with you. So I love that.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Yes. All right. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay. So as we wrap up tonight, let's go back to this slide right here, because this is what you need to do. You need to go and Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles, because all of these ladies who have come into here tonight and shared their stories, all of them have been leaning into this model inside of Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles as a starting place. And we started that work 4 years ago for some of them who've been with me from the beginning, and it has been a catalyst for them to impact and make change in their schools. And sometimes it always takes multiple years to see that fruit happening. And there's so much encouragement for you in this book around not giving up, because it's just keep going. There are things that are happening in the process. That's why we say, if change is the goal, if you want to see change happening at your school, then progress is the win. And we have to stop and pause and celebrate progress along the way. And we have to do it collectively, and taking this time at the end of the year to celebrate as a community If you have a win that you want to share with us, absolutely put that into the new to coaching group comments. I will probably make a new post so that's easy for you to do that, or you can put it right here in the comments of this live stream. We will see those and celebrate with you because we really want to celebrate your wins. We think it's so important for you to see the progress you're making as a new coach so that you can transform your mind, really, and then honestly have a better perspective about the work that you are doing as a coach. And as you heard these ladies talking, if you are going through the experience of being told that you have to go back to the classroom or you're having to switch jobs, those things seem sometimes like the worst thing that could ever happen. But you can take with you coaching. You can take coaching with you wherever you go. If you go back to the classroom, you now have coaching as a way to interact with your peer teachers and a way to empower those around you and be a teacher leader. If you're going to an admin position, then you have coaching to take that with you. If you're just going to a new school to keep coaching, you have that coaching experience to take with you. So don't be discouraged in any way about these changes that you might be having because the work that you've done as a coach will grow you. If you are a brand new hire coach and you just got hired, then I want you to hear tonight that there are wins on the other side of the struggle. You have to get in there. You have to get started. You have to read Kickstart Your Coaching Cycles to figure out how to get started. Get started, and then you'll be able to really start to lay the foundation for the work. Just know that it's not the same as teaching, and 1 year is not enough. And so you have to keep investing in this work and investing in people, because coaching is people work, and you will start to see the fruit of your labor on the other side. So as we wrap up tonight and celebrate our wins, I want you to celebrate your wins in the New to Coaching group. We can't wait to celebrate with you. I hope that you are blissfully headed into summer soon. If you still have a few more weeks of school, hang in there. But don't forget to share your wins and stop and celebrate them, because it's the most important thing that you can do. So y'all have a great night. Thanks so much for joining us here in the New to Coaching group.